Hi, I'm David White. Let me tell you the story about the CEO who had sales but lost his job. I know someone who lost his job as CEO recently. Not because the company was failing, not because of scandal or incompetence, not because customers were unhappy. He lost his job because he had sales, but no sales growth. Within months, 3 people were gone. Himself, the CEO, the sales director, and the second best salesperson. 3 critical roles gone. The business still exists today. It's not all doom and disaster. They're rebuilding. But here's the question that haunts me. Are they now a lost cause? And more importantly, could this be you? So let me tell you about what actually happened. So let me be clear about something first. This CEO wasn't failing. There was no fraud. There was no scandal. There was no incompetence. There was no catastrophic product failure. The customers weren't complaining. The employees weren't revolting. The board wasn't dealing with a crisis. He had sales, real revenue-generating sales, money coming in, policies being written, clients being served. And if you looked at the P&L statement for any given month, you'd see income. You'd see a functioning business. So why did he lose his job? Because the financial services market was booming, growing 12, 15, 18% annually, depending on your market sector. New customers in the current market are flooding in. New products were launching. Technology is creating opportunities. And his business, well, it was doing exactly what it did last year. In absolute terms, they were surviving. In relative terms, they were dying. And this is what I call the paradox of simultaneous success and failure. It's a danger zone. And let me explain why this matters to you. Now, you might be thinking, that wouldn't happen to me. I'd see it coming. Well, would you? Because I've watched this pattern over decades, across dozens of industries. The manufacturing CEO with excellent quality and on-time delivery. Our competitors automated and cut lead times by 60%. The retail CEO running profitable stores with loyal staff, while foot traffic shifted online and she became a slower motion blockbuster. The consulting CEO maintaining strong client relationships, while younger firms captured the strategic work, leaving her with execution projects and shrinking margins. In every single case, the CEO looked successful right up until the moment they weren't. In every case, they had sales, but in every case, they didn't have sales growth. And this is what makes it so dangerous. You can be making money and losing ground at the same time. You can be serving clients and losing market share. You can be hitting your numbers and still be in the throes of death. Because flat performance in a rising market isn't stability, it's decline in disguise. So 2 mistakes. The financial service CEO made 2 mistakes. And I see them constantly. So common, and yet they seem so reasonable. Most CEOs don't recognize them as mistakes until it's too late. So the first mistake is role confusion, where we see our job as managing the business. And we can be quite good at this. We can be brilliant at managing budgets, understanding reports, balance sheets. We can optimize processes. We can make decisions about structure and systems, all necessary work, all important. But none of it is leading. Let me give you an engineering analogy, because that's my background. Radar, missile guidance systems, actually. Imagine you're maintaining a perfectly functioning engine. You change the oil on schedule, replace warm parts. You keep it clean, calibrated, running smoothly. The engine purrs. Meanwhile, the world has moved to an entirely new type of engine. Yours still works. It's just not the engine anyone wants anymore. That's management without leadership. The financial services CEO managed his business beautifully, but he stopped leading it. And what does leading actually mean? Well, business leadership is about developing relationships. That's it. There are only really 3 types of relationship work: fixing broken ones, strengthening existing ones, and creating new ones. The CEO I'm talking about did none of these things. Instead, he restructured, he optimized, he looked inward. Restructuring feels productive. You can see organization charts change. You can measure efficiency improvements. You can control it. But while he's restructuring, his relationships were dying. His clients weren't getting deeper engagement. They were getting maintenance. His partners weren't getting strategic collaboration. They were getting transactions. His prospects weren't getting attention. They were getting ignored. It's the difference between standing at the front and leading from the front. He was standing at the front. His name was on the door, title of CEO, of the table, but he wasn't leading from the front. He wasn't in front of clients. He wasn't opening doors. He wasn't building relationships. You know who was leading from the front? His best salesperson, which brings us to mistake number 2. He made what looked like a smart decision about people. He took his best salesperson and promoted him to sales director. Now think about why this seemed smart. He was recognizing excellence. He was undertaking succession planning, undertaking leadership development, investing in the team. He had smart talent. Every CEO I tell this story to nods along. Of course you'd promote him. And then I tell him what happened. And he was advised of this. He knew there was a chance. His best salesperson stopped selling and he didn't notice. And you got to realize one great salesman plus management duties often equals 0 salespeople. It's simple mathematics, but businesses do this every single day. When he left, the second best salesperson followed. Why wouldn't they? The signal was clear. The success in this business gets you removed from what you're good at. Today, the CEO is gone, the sales director is gone, and the second best salesperson is gone. 3 people. The top 3 generating revenue roles empty. Can they recover? I don't know yet. Business still exists. There's still a customer base. They have money coming in. Chances are they should. They have infrastructure, brand equity. The new CEO presumably understands what went wrong. But here's what keeps me up at night. How do you know when a business crosses the line from recoverable to lost cause? How do you know if you're on the wrong side of that line right now? I've spent decades asking these questions, not theoretically, not academically. I've asked them while standing in the ruins of my own mistakes. I ran a company or a couple of companies, the last company for 20 years, no institutional funding. We traded in millions. I made plenty of mistakes, but every single mistake was covered by sales and income. New customers, new contracts, new revenue. How? Because as CEO, I spent more time outside the business than inside the business. I spoke to clients, I spoke at events, I organized publicity, I sponsored, I advertised, I hosted, I worked with trade bodies, in some cases becoming chair. Not because I was smart or special, because of relationships. I spent more time building relationships and reviewing reports, more time in front of clients than in front of spreadsheets or my team, more time creating opportunities than managing efficiency. The financial services CEO did the opposite. One worked for 20 years and the other one was gone within a few short months. So here's the uncomfortable question I need you to sit with. Are you the financial services CEO? Do you have sales but not sales growth? Are you managing instead of leading? Are you standing at the front instead of leading from the front? Are you focused on internal structure instead of external relationships? Are you making decisions that seem smart but are actually fatal? Because here's the thing, the financial services CEO probably thought he was doing everything right. He was managing well. He was making smart decisions, running a profitable business. He just couldn't answer what I would now describe as 6 fundamental questions. 6 questions that separate growing CEOs from lost causes. So let me share the first question and we'll run through each of them. Why do successful CEOs lose their jobs? And it's not the surface answer. The real answer, the uncomfortable answer that might apply to you right now. Over the next few videos, I'm going to ask you all 6 questions and then I'm going to give you the answers. Not theory, not academic framework. The answers I learned over 40 years. Most of them the hard way. Through mistakes that cost me money but taught me something valuable. And then I'm going to give you a system. A 5-stage engineering process for generating referrals systematically. The same system I used to run a company for 20 years without institutional funding. The system that recovered every mistake I made. The system that made my business anti-fragile. If you can't answer these 6 questions right now, your business is more at risk than you realize. But you don't have to wait to find out if your business is a lost cause. That's what this series is for. That's what Referral Engineering is about, my new book. Subscribe so you don't miss the next question. But the second question might be even more uncomfortable than the first. Why does promoting your best salesperson destroy your business? I'll see you in the next video.